Here's another question. Dear Katie, my 6-year-old boy loves dolls, often wants to wear pink, and prefers to play with girls at the park. Should my husband and I be concerned? Thanks, Emma. Great question. So I asked the other Canevok state leaders if they had ever had situations where their sons acted in more typically feminine ways. And it turns out many of us have had our Emma moment too, where we've wondered privately to ourselves, is this normal? So you're not alone. It's common for boys, especially young boys your son's age, to experiment with a wide range of interests and activities, even those that are typically more feminine. It's common for girls too, right? We have the word tomboy for a reason. So the vast majority of the time, it's totally normal. Sometimes our sons outgrow these interests, and sometimes it's the beginning of a lifelong hobby like writing poetry or designing beautiful things or baking. Girl, your kid can break some stuffy stereotypes. Our generation is increasingly aware that boys can be boys in lots of different ways. It's not just linebackers and lumberjacks anymore, you know? Your son is just as much a boy when he's reading, sculpting Play-Doh, or rocking a doll as he is when he's kicking a soccer ball, wrestling, or jumping on a trampoline. Being a boy doesn't depend on these activities. Being a boy depends on his biological sex. And by that standard, your son is 100% boy. Now let me pause here and say that if you suspect that your son is experiencing pathological feelings of disgust towards his male body, then you may want to see a professional. But make sure you choose a professional who will help him to love and accept his body. But in general, what you're describing is totally normal. So what should you do? Well, number one, don't draw negative attention to it. Saying things like, boys don't do that kind of thing, or only girls like that, that doesn't help in the least. Just let him be himself. Number two, do take every opportunity to praise his boyish ways. Things like, Andy, I love how you take care of your stuffed bear. Boys are such great protectors of the weak. Or, Johnny, look at you, 2 grocery bags in one trip. You're so strong. Number three, help him foster strong friendships with other boys. Make sure he has lots of positive boy time. And number four, encourage your husband to connect with your son, especially in ways where your husband is entering into your son's world and interests. Emma, just because your son doesn't fit the typical stereotype of a boy, who cares? Stereotypes are superficial. So whether he grows up to be a nurse or just a really great dad, your son's masculinity is going to be a gift to those around him. Emma, when you teach your son to love who he is, then you've got this.